A child that is not embraced by the village will burn it down to feel its warmth. A guy I went to school with burnt the bridge between him and his entire family. We weren't best friends, it was more of a friend type situation, so a lot of the information that I have is hearsay. But I do know certain things. He was the middle child, he had an older sister and a younger brother. His parents had owned a diner that had been in the family for a few generations. It was an unspoken rule that the kids of each generation would help out when they were little, and eventually take over to keep it in the family. The problem was that none of them wanted anything to do with it. Even mentioning the diner was the easiest way to set him off. This didn't stop the parents though. They would joke about how the kids didn't have to worry about college or moving away and that it would all be taken care of when they run the diner. The sister, being the oldest, was the first really pressured into it, but he and his brother told her to get out, don't look back, and don't let them guilt trip you. And she did. She moved states away, going to college on a sports scholarship. She visits now or then, but she keeps low contact for the most part. Then it was his turn, but unfortunately he did not have the money to get away. So his parents convinced him to go to community college and work at the diner to save money. This is when the issues started. The younger brother doesn't go to college and decides to go couch surfing and backpacking across the country for a few years, occasionally coming back to work a few weeks when he needs money. Then he takes off again. So my friend gets left running the place, alone, despite swearing he never would. I see him around sometimes at bars, and he was a bitter shell of his former self with a bad drinking problem and a series of failed relationships. His parents didn't seem to care that their son was a depressed alcoholic as long as the family legacy stayed the same. We talked a little and I found out his parents are trying to push him into other things like starting a family and getting married and settling down and just being okay with a life that he never wanted. His sister and brother couldn't bother to come down and help. In fact, they started agreeing with the parents, telling him that he should cut his losses and just work at the diner for the rest of his life. One day he drops off the face of the earth. Nobody sees or hears from him for like 3 weeks. His parents say he went on vacation, but even they didn't hear from him. Then suddenly he's back in town and he's in so much better spirits and he looks healthier than I've ever seen him in years. About 2 months later, the diner was torn down and replaced with some other business. It turns out his girlfriend gave him an ultimatum: quit drinking and go to therapy or we're done. So he does just that. The therapist points out the obvious and tells him he needs a vacation so that he can figure out what he wants to do with the rest of his life. He went to Vegas, partied for about 2 weeks, and then thought about killing himself. After getting all of that out of his system, he went ahead and started planning. His plan was to sell the diner, pocket the money. I mean, everything was already in his name anyway, so it was really easy. He took the best offer and used that money to leave town. The brother and the sister didn't get a dime, and the parents were already retired. He moved to the other side of the country with his now wife, and we follow each other on social media. He seems to be much happier. Apparently, he hasn't spoken a word to his family in years, nor they to him, and he does not intend to start. I don't blame him for going no contact. I would have done the same thing. Like,